We've been working together on sustainability for some time now. Some of us before it was called sustainability. And we sometimes get asked, why are you still working on that? Or do you really think you're making a difference? To that, we tell them it's been pretty good for our business. It's pushing us to think differently, to innovate. We're working with new companies and organizations to achieve things we never could have done alone. We're doing it because it's the right thing to do, and our customers noticed. But our reason goes much deeper than that. With every farm we visit, every PO cut, every product you make, every trailer load shipped, and every product we stock on the shelf, we're proud to know that our actions help families across the globe have access to products that help them live better. We can say we're taking the extra time to dig into hard stuff, working with suppliers to help make products more sustainable, to source them from better places, and delivering them in a better way. In such a way that we hope our grandparents would be proud of us, in a way that our kids might look up to us, and in a way that future generations might be thankful that we did something. So when they ask us, are you still working on that? We tell them, we're just getting started. Will you join us? Saving people money so they can live better today and for generations to come.
Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for your interest in this subject. Thank you for putting your passion and energy against the work that we're doing. This is a big target. It's a gigaton. I had to look it up. How big is it? It's 1 billion tons. That's a big number, even on a Walmart scale. And the objective that we've set is to achieve it by 2030. And what I'm afraid of is that my career's not going to last that long. So could we do it faster? A number of you may make it as I look around the room, but I'm pretty sure I'm not going to make it. So let's get this done. We've beaten a number of other targets in terms of the timing that we've set. Laura, let's beat this one too. We are on a journey. When I think about sustainability, I clearly see it as a journey, not only professionally, but personally. And we really started ours in the age of Katrina in 2005. This picture is familiar to a lot of us. It's a number of Walmart trucks trying to get into the New Orleans area to help during the flooding that happened in that market. And it inspired us to think about how we could use the scale of the company for good. And there were a number of people, Lee Scott, Rob Walton, Peter Seligman from Conservation International, and Jib Ellison, that were really at that spark of a moment that got us started. And Jib's somewhere here today. Where's Jib? Jib, would you stand up for just a second? Jib started a business called Blue Sky, and we called on him to come in and advise us on how we could make this transformation. And when the first meeting got called, Lee Scott said, come over and talk to us about sustainability and meet this guy named Jib Ellison. I brought my P&L because I thought when I heard the word sustainability that I was going to have a P&L review and discuss the sustainability of the company financially. It was right. Turns out all these years later, this is very much related to the financial sustainability of the company and the overall sustainability of the company. Jib started educating us. He asked us questions. He made us think about things. John, he would hand us books to read. I'm a fairly action-oriented person. Walmart's an action-oriented company. So we started wanting to do things, Case. And I remember in those first few weeks and months going to Jib and say, okay, I got it, let's go. And he would say, no, read another book. Okay, so that goes on. And at one point I came back and said, okay, I got it, let's go. And he said, no, go home and talk to your family about this, which I had not done. And at that time, Shelley and I had 2 little kids, little boys, and I was sitting down at dinner with them, and I thought, I'm going to check this box so that Jib will let me go do stuff. I'm going to have this conversation. And I talked to those 2 little boys and started trying to take what I thought was a complex subject and simplify it so that I could get feedback. And it went something like, do you guys think the company I work for, Walmart, should be working on sustainability? And my youngest son's response was, duh, yeah. We're going to need this planet, and you guys should be working on it. And that pretty much ended the conversation. But I wanted to thank you, Jib, today, because every time we have one of these moments, I think about you and I think about the influence that you had. And I think the significance of the approach that he and the others took, Don, was to get us not only mentally but emotionally connected to this subject. And then as a company, once we figured out, hey, this is actually good for the P&L and it feeds on itself, it's, eliminating waste is good for our business financially. We started selling cardboard instead of throwing it away. this thing just kind of caught fire. And that's why we're here all these years later, and we've accomplished a lot together, but we're still setting targets together because it actually is really good for business in addition to being good for people. So the challenge I would have for a lot of you today is if this is something that you've gotten from the neck up, what can you do to help yourself connect and others around you connect in a way that's broader than just intellectually understanding it? As it relates to the progress that we've made, we're proud of the Midwest Row Crop Initiative that a number of you have joined us on to help generate more sustainable farming practices around the world, and including here in the U.S. for large and small companies. We're proud of the target that Fred mentioned earlier, reaching these greenhouse gas numbers ahead of schedule and in a bigger way than we'd originally planned was terrific. It makes me feel old because I lived most of my life with incandescent light bulbs, and then when we converted to CFLs and we tried to get all these customers to buy CFLs, that felt like a big transformation, Tony, and now we're going through another cycle with LEDs. Cycle times are faster. We're getting older. We may have a new technology from GE next week that helps us save even more energy, but these LED bulbs are 75% more efficient than those incandescent bulbs that many of us grew up with. That's a big deal. All this stuff adds up. This morning you've heard we had some time together with a number of people and are seeking advice on how we use the size and scale of Walmart and these relationships we have to make more progress. There were a lot of good nuggets that came out of those discussions. A couple of them that really resonated with me were related to the back end and the front end. On the back end side, this encouragement to continue to set aggressive targets when we can, Carter, tie them to a science-based approach to the bigger objective that we have around the world of slowing this increase in temperatures that we're seeing that is causing harm to our planet and endangering the future of our children and grandchildren. And then celebrating those that make progress. Part of today is to celebrate those that are working on this every day. On the front end, the story that Ian told about the toothpaste really resonates with me. Did all of you use toothpaste this morning? Hopefully. So it affects all of us. And a little thing like sending a message about turning the water off around the world does plant a seed with people that resources are scarce. And so we all need to be looking for those interactions. Brian from Hasbro told a story about those old wires that they used to put on toys to secure them to the package that frustrated us all, and how they've moved to a paper rattan approach there. There are all these places where there are touch points with customers, with parents, with human beings. And if we can somehow replicate those over and over again in a way that's more personal than just the mathematical or science-based approach to this, we will gain more traction with consumers around the world. And for Walmart, I'm worried that over these years, together with you, we've made really good progress on shaping systems together, and the customers still don't understand what we've done. And our reputation matters to us, and people do think big is bad. All of us are kind of wired in some ways to think that way. So we need to find these human touch points, and if any of you have ideas on what we can be doing to communicate more effectively with people around the world in Walmart or in your own companies, let's do those things together, because people need to know, Sandy, that we're doing good work and that we have the best of intentions. It's amazing how people misunderstand or don't have the right perception about the people that are running these businesses and how good the intentions of all of us are, and we need to make more progress on that. Now, one of the ways that we've been trying to tell stories is with items. Amber and the team are here, and they've got this $3.88 t-shirt where we tried to take a concept that's called Everyday Low True Cost, which rather than suboptimizing just on some cost components, actually takes the costs of water and every natural resource and all of this system behind an item and get it baked into the product, and then reflect an accurate price, an appropriate price point and margin on it, and sell the heck out of it. So we're going to sell enough of these t-shirts to put them on everybody in LA and New York this year. Next year, I just heard today, we're going to sell a lot more. And we've got the CEO, Jaime Miguel, is here today. Jaime, would you stand up for a second and let us appreciate you for what you did to help create this item? The cotton is traceable to the Mississippi Delta. The water and everything else have been contemplated, and we're telling customers about it at point of sale. I hope they're taking a little bit of time when they're buying this item to learn more about what we're doing. Shared value has been a kind of a new term that we've been talking about more lately. We've had more interaction with Harvard this last year than we typically would have. They are writing a couple of new case studies about the company, and Dr. Michael Porter has engaged with Kathleen and others to try and tell the story about what we're doing here together in a different way. And if you haven't read the more recent case study, take a chance to read it. Some of you may be in it. This concept is that all the stakeholders involved in systems and in business can benefit. If you really do think like a systems thinker and about optimizing the entire chain related to how people are treated that make the products, how the environment's impacted by those things that are manufactured, how things are moved, how they're sold, how they're treated at end of life, creating closed loops whenever we can. If you really think through the whole system, you end up helping all of the stakeholders. You help the people in communities, your associates want to work for the company, you'll be able to attract greater talent. Shareholders benefit because costs come out, we get more efficient, returns go up. Literally every stakeholder that you can think of that's participating in business benefits with a shared value approach. So I just mentioned that because some of you may want to take that term, read more about that, and help us continue to evolve this vocabulary in a way that everybody in the world understands what it is that business is doing today. And if we can create that kind of environment, we'll also help create demand in the future. If these resources continue to be under the pressure that they're in, we're going to impact our businesses financially, we'll impact people and demand. Supply challenges are just going to get worse. So this is really important for today, and it's really important for the future. And I'll just leave you with one other challenge. If you're a Walmart, Sam's Club associate, you work in our company somewhere, every single one of us can do something. Merchants are making a difference. Operators are making a difference. Tony can tell the story. Every one of us can do something. Some of those things will be small, some of those things will be big, and when you add them all up, we'll achieve not only this target, but we will achieve the overall target of making the world more sustainable, and our company's playing a role in that. So thank you again to everyone who's attending. Thank you for your help. Let's go do this together, and let's beat 2030.